morning, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Tones and the Biz.
How's it going?
Episode 12.
12. Yes, it is 12 now. Yeah, boy.
And they said we couldn't make it.
We proved them wrong.
So, yeah, it's been great. Interesting weekend. As you know, The Last of Us is basically anything anyone's talking about, but we won't be talking about that this time.
No.
I have
yet.
finished it. If you know me, reach out. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll keep it between us because Biz has not finished it yet.
I'm probably about 5 days away from finishing it.
Okay, decent.
It, like, roughly a week. But you know what I'm like with games anyway.
You take your time.
I do like to take my time.
Let it marinate.
I like to savor it, let it marinate.
Let it percolate.
Let it stew in the juices a little bit.
Hear that?
You know what I mean?
It's all right.
Yeah, man.
So
Slow
so we're
cook
gonna
it.
do that, but we will we'll do a review of it.
Yeah.
Or not so much a review. We'll have a discussion about it.
Yes.
We won't do a review. We're just gonna talk about it, but we probably won't do that as a Monday morning episode. We'll do that as a separate episode, maybe a Friday morning episode.
Yeah.
Just so that we can keep this a little separate
For
people that haven't played it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but we won't be talking about it on this episode. So that's one thing. If you didn't already know,
Yeah.
we're gonna start this one.
Okay. What do we got?
So Dr. Disrespect, a very famous Twitch streamer,
Yeah.
millions upon millions of viewers,
Uh-huh.
has been banned from Twitch permanently.
Ah, shit. What happened?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows?
No one knows. I'm looking at some of the channels at the moment, and Twitch has just come along and said, as is our process, we take appropriate action when we have evidence that a streamer has acted in violation of our community guidelines or terms of service. These applies to all streamers regardless of their status or prominence in the community.
So what was the violation? Like,
No one knows. And then he came out recently on the 28th of June. He said, Champions Club, Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. Firm handshakes to all the support during this difficult time. Dr. Disrespect. No one knows.
That's
There's
very strange.
Yeah, man. Like, that was today. So
Some seedy guanins.
something's guanin, and it's some guanins.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with him. We'll keep you up to date as we can, but this kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it seems as though.
Moving on, keeping in the streaming, keeping on that streaming train.
Yeah.
Mixer is done. Microsoft have abruptly closed it.
I've been hearing about this week. Yeah.
For those that don't know, Mixer was the I wouldn't say competitor. It was an alternative to Twitch.
Yeah.
It was a gamer's alternative where people could go and stream their content, not on Twitch, whether that's doing live DJ sets or live playlists or gaming, whatever they wanted really, or just chatting. They would use Mixer, and that's Microsoft has just declared it dead. And the people that were streaming on that weren't told until the public announcement happened.
You are joking.
According to the internet.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I mean, what happened there? Like, why did?
Don't know. There was one. I'm just looking at The Verge now, and someone was saying that she was just on a road trip and she checked her phone and her phone blew up, and they were like, "Yeah, you're done." Like,
ouch.
And she spent 8-hour streaming, 80 hours a week streaming, building a fan base, working her ass off.
Yeah.
For Mixer to be shut down, and it's becoming
just
Facebook
to be unceremoniously unplugged.
To be unplugged. So now everyone is mass migrating back to Twitch to technically start over, and that's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, that's got to be. Oh gosh,
I know that you and I are talking about potentially doing stuff like that, but that's a real thing you got to think about, and that's work. That's a lot of hours, and to have people taken away from them, it's pretty big. And some of them are looking. It's sad. A lot of people are looking positively at it and just going, you know what, I'm just going to crack on.
Yeah.
But basically, there's on their web on Mix's front page, it just says it's becoming Facebook gaming, and no one wants to go near Facebook for that. So they're all just going off to Twitch.
Something about that just makes me shiver. Facebook gaming.
Yeah, and it's the same with because YouTube has YouTube gaming as well.
Right.
But I don't know too much about that. Sorry, but to comment. But it seems like not a lot of people are a big fan of it. Because YouTube's owned by Google.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be a Google kind of thing. But yeah, they're not doing that. And there's got Shroud and Ninja, who are big streamers.
Yeah.
Getting paid upwards of 40 million because obviously their contracts have been voided. So they're getting paid out.
40 mil.
That's a number that has come up, whether that's confirmed. But there's been talks of upwards of 40 million in payouts to nix it. No word as to why, really. I guess they were either losing too much money, they were just hemorrhaging cash, But it just didn't feel like Microsoft were really ever pushing Mixer. Like you didn't really see that many marketing campaigns or like big pushes for it.
No, you kind of. I mean, I read about Mixer just in passing while I was, looking for other stuff. Basically, you would just kind of happen across it. There wasn't any big, huge push to get it out there to put it in front of our faces or anything like that. So.
Not at all. And that's the thing that I don't know what they were expecting, or if the PR team were expecting it just to do it off its own back. To take on someone like Twitch, you really got to know what you're doing, and you really got to kind of go hard.
Yeah.
And people will always come over, especially when you sign over people like like someone like Ninja from Fortnite, but apparently not.
Oh man, that's
so
bad.
They are done, and everyone's trying again. Mass migration back to Twitch. I bet they're rubbing their hands together.
Tail between the legs, you can't come back.
You know what? 50% of what you
can you imagine?
That's what's gonna happen. Steam is having its summer sale at the moment. There are some mad ones. You can get big discounts on the Assassin's Creed franchise, the Dishonored franchise. If you haven't played that, I highly recommend it. The Arkham series.
The Arkham series, yeah?
All of them, because I got Arkham Origins, because that's the one I haven't played.
Right.
So I got that. Killer Instinct, finally. I'm desperate to kind of... I showed you the other day.
You did, yeah.
I love it, but oh my God. Like, these people have been playing this for a time.
Yeah.
And coming in on the ground floor with that is...
But you know what? That game looks really, really nice, though. And I haven't played Killer Instinct since... one of the first iterations on probably the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, SNES. Yeah.
So we're talking, years ago, 25 something years ago.
Amazing.
And it looks really, really good now. It looks better than a couple games. I ain't gonna
say it.
I ain't gonna say it, but it looks really, really nice for something that is 5 years old. Whereas you look at a couple of other games that are like 5 years old that look a bit shit. Anyway,
neither here nor there. But so far, I've actually really, 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 really enjoyed. I've actually really, really enjoyed the fun I've had with Killer Instinct. I've only played it for a couple of hours, but it was one of those things that was like, the music's amazing, the gameplay's amazing, the combos are great.
I love the 6-button format.
6-button format,
yeah,
it's great. The combo breaker, the commentator just gets me so hype. It's so good. It's such a great game, and it's such a shame that they haven't made another one. Like, I really feel like it would be incredible if they pushed for another one. And I know Max Dude, the YouTuber, is just constantly streaming and keeping Killer Instinct at the front.
He's keeping it alive.
10 to 15,000 people that watch him
playing Killer Instinct.
Playing Killer Instinct, and it's one of those things that he's keeping it at the front in the hope that someone somewhere will see it and go, all right, cool, because it's owned by Amazon now. I think Double Helix are owned by Amazon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So come on, guys, stop. Why they made Crucible, but they didn't make Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was basically a sure thing. But if they own the license, we don't know. But yeah, so that's on the Steam Summer Sale. There's a lot of other good stuff on there as well. So I would check it out because we've got. I don't know what's going on with this quarantine thing, but we're staying alert thing now.
Staying alert, just watching out for that C19.
But if you don't want to go out there, and you want to spend the price of what you would spend on a pint down a pub, get yourself a couple games, sort yourself out.
So wait, which ones did you get? How much did you?
I bought Arkham Origins,
Killer Instinct,
and Dishonored 1.
And
I paid about £8 for the lot, or like £9 for all
three. How are you going to argue with that?
You can't, right?
That's a pint and a portion of chips, man.
It's a pint and a small bag of chips.
A small bag of chips, all right.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, it was really, really cool, and I think it's nice to see that kind of. The Steam sales are always mental.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that. I have that equivalent going, I'll buy it, and it's on sale, so I'll get it. Knowing that I might not play it for the next 5 to 10 years. I've got a problem. I just go, but I might play it. So I just grab it, and it's... We
got to talk, man.
Yeah, dude, it's a problem. It's a real problem. And it's actually forums on Reddit that talk about, you just mindlessly buy games on Steam because it's cheap.
There are forums on Reddit about that?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's all about...
So these are like self-help forums on Reddit?
And I'm on one.
That's amazing.
And it's amazing because there was one guy, because the guy confirmed the same thing when he's like, the cliche thing of when people go shopping and they're like, it's on sale, I must buy it. The classic kind of the Diary of a Shopaholic movie where Isla Fisher's character's going in, she's like, she loves shoes and it's on sale, and people are saying, they're like, I have to buy it. It's exactly the same mentality.
So you're saying that you're like Isla Fisher?
Yeah, just
okay.
Just without the red.
Okay,
the red
I mean, it's
hair,
good when you admit it.
Porcelain skin. I wish I was. But basically, the idea of just being like obsessed with this idea of it's cheap now, I should just get it.
Yeah.
Because I very rarely buy games full price unless it's like a major title.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to these days unless they're like AAA big boy titles that you know you're going to get something meaty out of.
Or it's going to get spoiled.
You just think, okay, yeah, I can, I'm cool with 45, 50 quid for that.
Yeah.
No problem.
And that's fine. I mean, like I said, it's most of the games I've bought. Like Dishonored, I've played before. I don't think I finished it though, and I've just always wanted to get back into it. And I've heard it's just supposed to, it was a lot of fun, and people are always raging about it. And if it was like £3.50, I'm like, it's less than a pint.
Yeah.
So why not? Arkham Origins isn't supposed to be as good, but I just want to finish round out the series. Apparently, there are 2 more coming.
Yes, there are. Yes, it's the. There's a Suicide Squad one.
There's a Suicide Squad one, and then there's, I don't know if Rocksteady are doing that.
I think Rocksteady
are doing that.
Yeah.
And then the other guys, I think it's WB Montreal.
Yeah.
Are doing the other one. Great, bring it on. I just hope it's not more of. I always say this. I just hope it's not more of the same.
In what way?
I just hope there are some big changes. I just hope that we see some like big changes, whether that's because it will be PS5.
Yes.
Hopefully we can see some pretty innovative and new stuff. Because just doing more of the same is a problem. Like I felt like Arkham Knight was that in a lot of ways. I loved Arkham Knight, but I felt like a lot of it was quite samey, especially when you have to fight Deathstroke. Have you played it, right?
Arkham, no, not that one. I think I did the first.
You did the first 2, right? You've definitely done the first 2.
Yeah, I've done the first 2.
So it's just these bits where you just like, you don't fight him, you just do what you did earlier in the game, but just hear his voice over the top of it, and it's like,
okay,
no.
Right.
So it's just so I'm just hoping for not more than that. And that's it.
Is that it for
that's all. That's all. If you didn't already know, we always end up. Oh no, that's not. I'm lying.
Oh,
there's one more.
What are you hiding?
Cyberpunk is got an anime coming.
Yes.
Cyberpunk have a full-scale anime coming, and it's going to.
I already know I'm watching the shit out of that.
2022 though.
Oh, what?
It's a big wait.
I mean, all right, it's fine. I mean, it's going to take us that long to complete all the side quests.
To complete Cyberpunk
in the game anyway.
You're not wrong.
So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so they've got this new anime. They dropped like a little graphic for it. I don't know if there's a trailer for it yet. I didn't see that.
No, I don't think there is. But that's going to Netflix, I believe.
Straight to Netflix.
Wow.
They were quick.
Wow.
CD Projekt Red are just printing their own money at this point. So yeah, they've got this shiny new anime coming out. I hope it's good.
I've
heavy Akira vibes. So.
Oh well, then I'm in. I've got no doubt about
heavy
it. That it's going to be good.
Well, yeah, but you're just looking at the game. It's got Akira vibes. As Max Dude was saying that the other day. He was saying that it's got. Well, someone said to him it had Akira vibes. He's like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
That and because if you think of anything that's cyberpunky, robot-esque, it's always one of 2 things. It's Blade Runner or it's Akira.
Akira, yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I have for you.
Same.
It's been a pretty quiet one because I've been trying to stay off of the headlines whilst I was playing The Last of Us, so that I didn't catch anything out.
Yeah.
But
I'm still trying to dodge thumbnails.
Yeah, exactly.
Places and stuff like that.
A lot of dark people.
Yeah, it's getting a bit hard.
So, speaking of The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
Or not speaking of The Last of Us.
Okay.
I was it's split the audience down the middle.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that's come up with this thing is story.
Okay.
So my question to you is this: when do you double down on the story in a game,
right?
And when do you like, I don't mind if the story's not good? Like, when does it matter and when does it not? So if you're playing, for example, in my opinion, Devil May Cry isn't known for having the best story in the world. Right?
Right, okay.
But I love the game. I love the characters. I love Virgil. But the gameplay and the characters in them, just on their own, not in the story, are amazing.
Yeah.
But the story, I could take or leave the story in those games. But then you look at something like The Last of Us or Dragon Age.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going down the BioWare track here. Mass Effect, or even something as broad as God of War or Horizon.
Yeah.
The story is important. You're paying attention. You don't necessarily go, okay, well, I don't really need to know what's going on. I can just crack on.
Okay, yeah.
When do you sit down to play a game and go, I'm here for the story, and when do you go, I don't mind about the story? Or are they, does that make sense?
Like the story as opposed to
the gameplay.
Just the gameplay.
Like it's that thing of we were saying about the movies. Like,
yeah.
You look at Transformers, you necessarily don't go there for the story.
No, not really.
Because at the end of the day, it is like, it looks amazing, there's explosions, and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley's in it.
Yeah.
Or Megan Fox, or whatever, like... but you can't really walk away and go, wow, that really got me. Whereas, like, you go and watch something like Mission Impossible or Shawshank or whatever, you're going to sit down there and go, this is going to hit me in the feels. I'm going to take this seriously. This is important. Do you feel like when you buy a game, you make the conscious decision to go, I'm in it for the story, or I'm in it for the gameplay, or are you always in it for the story, or are always in it for the gameplay? I hope that makes sense.
Wow, that does make sense, and that's a good question. I'm trying to think of the last few games that I bought. Obviously, I bought The Last of Us 2, which I'm obviously playing right now. Game I bought before that was it wasn't even Death Stranding, it was Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Big story. Death Stranding. I'm not quite sure
if there is a story. I'm not quite sure what the story is just yet, and I think I'm halfway through the game.
Right.
And then before that, I was playing Days Gone.
Not a great story, but there is one. The more I think about that game, I actually really enjoyed it.
It's interesting that you've said that, because I've come across a couple of YouTubers recently that have said, okay, Days Gone, a retrospective. Long story short, actually, it's kind of good. Actually good. And that's why I said to you, you know what? When I'm done with The Last of Us, I'm gonna bypass my other bits of back catalogue, and I'm going straight back to Days Gone, because I kind of cheekily want to run a comparison between them, and I might.
Very different.
I imagine they might be, but I know that there'll be a couple of things to talk about comparatively, and we might talk about it later.
Yeah. I mean, Days, like, it's not to digress too much, but looking back on Days Gone, I really like Days Gone because I feel like the zombies were great. I thought the artwork was great. The world was cool. I really like that kind of Portland. Yeah. Portland,
Oregon.
Yeah, northwest. Yeah. Kind of area.
Because where I left it, again, we won't go into this too much, but where I left it, I was enjoying being in the world, and I remember saying to you, I remember saying to you prior to buying it, when all the media hype was going on about it, which is probably going to kind of answer this question a little bit. Yeah, I knew exactly what I was going to get with that game in terms of story, and in terms of world. So I couldn't. It's not that I was going in with low expectations. It's that I was going in with no expectations. Yeah,
the same for me. I mean, I got it. I got it from you. So because you weren't playing it. Yeah. And
man, jeez, you air me out like that.
You know what I mean? You weren't playing it, so I did, didn't it? So no, but it was one of those things. It was like I was playing it, and I kind of was like, I'm not really interested, but because I had the opportunity to play it, I did. Yeah. And I was nicely surprised over disappointed. And the world was great. The character I really enjoyed. I felt like there wasn't much of a story in that game.
There wasn't much of a story.
Yeah, or at least that it wasn't very. There wasn't a lot of depth to it.
Okay. Was this what did the story feel quite basic or?
Yeah, it just felt like it was kind of loosely holding it all together, and it didn't. To me personally, it just didn't feel very deep. I wasn't incredibly invested in the story as a whole.
It's the thing, because I don't know if I was looking for deep with that game.
No, yeah, I mean, by deep, I mean, you're like, I really like where these characters are, and I wonder what happens next.
Okay, all right, right.
I wasn't incredibly invested.
Right, okay. They weren't very fully fleshed out characters to you, or?
Well, the main guy was. I can't even remember his name.
Deacon St. John.
Deacon St. John.
Yeah.
The main guy for sure.
Yeah.
But everybody else... Just kind of like, all right, and then, take
them as you find them and then leave them.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, I don't know how far you are.
Yeah.
But, I was kind of like, all right, take it or leave it. I liked being out in the world on the bike. I wish there was I hope if they do another one. Two things I really didn't like was the UI. You got this really dark, gritty world, and then this super clean, white, pause menu, inventory, skill based thing, and I was like, what? This is just so it's just contrast way too much. And just I felt like the use of the bike.
Yeah,
I felt like it could have been more with the bike.
Yeah. I feel like there could have been more with the bike.
Yeah, I just wish there was a. I don't know what it is. I never really ran out of gas. I never found myself so far away that I was in a place.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, if you saw a red can, you just pull over, fill it up as much as you can, and then dash it. It wasn't kind of. I never felt jeopardy with running out of fuel.
Okay.
So something like that, and certainly like. It would be cool if they did another one where you could have like a bigger bike or a smaller like a sports bike or something. I know he's a biker, right? Like it's just, but within that culture, to see variation of that, that would be really cool. And I want to go back into that world.
Yeah.
It's like it was the first thing I said when we played Last of Us Part 2. I was like, I'm so glad I'm back.
Yeah.
So glad I'm back
because it created. Yeah, Last of Us was just such a good. It wasn't just the story, part one, obviously. It's not just the story, but the environment around it.
Yeah.
You know,
all of it.
It just made it like you were inhabiting that world. You are fully in that world. So I guess to kind of answer the question, it's, you know, the story can be good, I think, but I think The Last of Us proves that the environment has to match it, I guess. In a sense.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right.
You know?
But you've obviously played games where you've gone, there was no story or the tourist. I mean, tell me the story of Devil May Cry 1.
Fuck, man.
You know what I mean? Like, but you know it's a great game. You remember it fondly. It's like, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was very much stylized gameplay over anything else. And it worked for it.
Yeah. So do you have like two separate places in your head where you're like, I don't need story, or you're like, I'm really in the mood for a story-based game?
Man, I don't know if I do.
Because a perfect example, today I was playing Apex.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine turned around and said, I don't really play single-player games. I'm not really interested. He likes playing multiplayer games. He also said, because I like having all my faults and flaws, I like to perform all my faults and flaws in front of other people, which I thought was hilarious. But
exhibitionist,
yeah, it was very, very funny. But it was this thing of like him personally, he's played Assassin's Creed and he enjoys the Black Flag, but it doesn't really matter. But then Apex Legends has stories based around the characters.
Yeah,
do you need that? Because at the end of the day, you've got your core characters and you've got your gameplay. I wonder if a lot of people play Apex Legends, the millions of them, care about the backstory of these characters.
I would wager that
the story as a whole. Street Fighter is exactly the same. Do people care about what the Dark Hado and Ryu and Ken's family and
I mean, I stopped caring about that story.
Why Sagat got his scar and all that kind of stuff. Do people care? Like, is it getting to a point now where, especially in a multiplayer world, do people care about story anymore? Do you care about story anymore in a multiplayer game, or do you care about story
in any kind of game? Yeah. I mean, the last few purchases, if they're anything to go by, I do care about story. I knew with The Last of Us 2 that it was going to be a continuation of what was a great story. Yeah. Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I don't even know where to begin with that, but
that's yeah.
But obviously, it's a story that's dear to our hearts, and now the story is kind of something else. Yeah. But at least the story was kind of there at the beginning of the game until it sort of spread out into its own thing. I can't talk about Death Stranding because I don't know where.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, because a lot of his games are quite confusing. Yeah. And Metal Gear being a perfect example of trying to get anyone to sit down and go, right, off the top of your head, tell me the Metal Gear storyline.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, I played the first first three Metal Gears. Yeah. And at the time, I was very, very invested in the story. I was invested in the idea of Snake and Solidus and Liquid and what was the character in part 2, Raiden, and how they all fit together, and how it was jumping back and forth in time story-wise to try to explain who, why, and how they were. But then I know I didn't play Metal Gear 4, and whatever came out in between before 5, I definitely didn't play. But because I was familiar with the first three and I knew that I loved the gameplay from the first three. I don't know. I suppose the gameplay, in a sense, made me gravitate towards it more.
Right.
I knew I was going to be in a Metal Gear world.
Yeah.
I knew that in some way, shape, or form, it was going to be a continuation of the story that I knew, that I remembered from 1, 2, and 3. So that was cool with me because I don't know. I think with the Metal Gear characters, I think they're well written.
Here's a question. Do you think that all games need story to be good?
Oof, that's a tough question. I mean,
because perfectly,
you can enjoy a game and it can have a shitty story.
Really?
I think so.
Well, yeah. Well, I've just said that, didn't I? When I said earlier.
Yeah.
But then you look at old games. You look at Super Mario Brothers.
I was just gonna say that.
There was one goal.
Yeah.
And there was not necessarily a story. Final Fantasy have always had big stories, right? But do you? So your answer to that question basically is no. You don't.
I don't think you. It's such a weird one. I mean, I don't think you can not have a good time. You can have a good time and not have a good story. Weirdly enough, though, I gravitate more now towards story-driven games. So I'm not going to play like Apex or Call of Duty, or even though they might have really good stories written around them, like Crucible, whichever other online games. I'm not necessarily going to play those because they feel like, and this is me not downplaying them.
Of course, no.
But on the face of it, it doesn't seem like there's enough story there for me to get invested in. So my brain is going to tune out after.
Right, yeah. I mean, I get that.
You know?
I mean, I was all about, back in the day, I only played heavily story-driven games.
Yeah.
That was my jam. That was my thing, whether it was like the Dragon Age games, Final Fantasy, Mass Effect, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, like real old school, the old point and clicks, Broken Sword, Full Throttle, The Dig, like the classics. So I was always in that place, and I've always and as someone that enjoys writing, and I love analyzing story. So I come from a heavy film fanatic background, and wanting to work in that world, to then starting to notice that video games were starting to take on the traits of really intricate stories and really intricate ways of telling stories, and then having
really intricate concepts as well.
And also having a way of telling a story that gets you invested in it and gets you in the story because you have to make the decisions. So having like Horizon, which has multiple stories, like BioWare games, like dialogue choices and stuff.
The Witcher as well.
The Witcher,
which I think has spoilt me a little bit.
Right, because it's such a big game. It's such an incredible game. It's such an incredible story. It was built in a world that I love. I started going... for some reason, my brain would go, okay, you're going to play this game, focus on the story.
Right.
As opposed to focus on everything. And that's why when I played something like Last of Us Part 1... I focused on the story so much and I loved it. I never really turned around until I played it for the third or fourth time. I was like, wow, these mechanics are kind of old school. Like, there's not a lot, I was like, okay, well, there's not a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Red Dead. The Red Dead is all story to the point where the missions are do them the way we tell you. Or we're going to tell you failed the mission. And those, like I'm sure I've said this to you before, the mechanics of that game, whether it's the site, I can't think what the word is right now. The HUD, everything like that. It's so similar to like Grand Theft Auto 3. Like the mechanics, the base foundation of that game hasn't changed in almost in 10 years. But you don't notice because you're so focused on this story. And only now as I'm older and I'm starting to really focus on the story and then seeing other people mention the mechanics and how side quests are written, how missions are written, I'm starting to go, well, look at it all as a whole. And does it take away from the story when you realize that you get into the mindset of going, I'm influencing this story.
Right.
But then you realize that you're kind in the Red Dead kind kind of way.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm not. I'm just being told to do it this way because this is the way the story has to be.
Right.
And then that pulls you out because now you're like,
you're essentially just page turning.
And it, you enjoy it. There's some good gunfights and some nice moments.
Yeah.
You try and make it as yours as possible.
Yeah.
As like a unique story to you as possible. But I can't help but feel like I started looking at the games as a whole, and I'm like, but then I'll play other games where I'm all about I got that combo, I did this, I got that, and I'm not really worried about it, and then when I join them together, I'm like, wow, you focus so much more on the product as a whole now.
Yeah.
Whereas before I almost feel like I subconsciously separated.
Yeah.
Games into two clear piles, distinct piles. Does that make sense? When I was younger,
yeah.
I'm going, all right, well, I don't really need to worry too much about the story because the mechanics are so great.
Right.
Or I'll forgive this because the story's so great. I mean, Resi's not famous for its mechanics.
Not really. No, it's more about the world and the story. It's more about the characters that inhabit that, namely Claire, Chris, and Leon. Claire and Leon, really.
Yeah,
because Chris sort of just comes in and out of that.
He ducks in and out.
He just floats in and out of that story.
But then 7 was a perfect example of. No one really spoke about the story of Resi 7.
They really didn't. No,
but no one really talked about. I can't wait to get into the story of Resi 7. Everyone was talking like when Last of Us Part 2 came out, because it's such a narrative-driven game.
Yeah,
it was like, I wonder where the story's going next.
Yeah,
where the characters are going to be.
Yeah.
And I felt like the majority of the conversation with Resi 7 was, they're taking heavy influence from PT, Texas Chainsaw.
I mean, that's exactly why I went in.
Right.
It was the PT.
It was first person. It was PT influenced. It was heavily Texas Chainsaw, American Horror Story kind of vibes, American horror movie vibes. And that was the pull. No one turned around and went, well, who's this character?
Yeah.
Where's Leon? I wonder what they do with these characters. What's the story? I'm sure people did. But I just felt like it wasn't at the front of everyone's mind.
It wasn't, no.
And I wonder where that, based on these games, where that distinction is made. When do people decide, okay, well, I'm going to play it because it's a Texas Chainsaw influence.
Yeah.
Or it's a PT influence. They're going for that vibe, that theme. Just like, Resi 8 with Village.
Yes. Yeah.
The werewolf-looking creature.
Yeah,
and
which looks great.
Dench Chris. And
he's just wedged out.
He's just unnaturally huge. And he
his
says, hi,
really
hello,
small.
Ethan. And, he says that. And the old guy. And, I started looking at that game going, well, they're going for a much more Blair Witch vibe. Right?
Yeah.
So now we're going in a Resi direction of they're taking on classic horror themes.
Yeah, and they're using those to build their environments.
Right, but now what's cool is that we've got this new character in Chris from 7 and Chris. And now we're like, okay, story. What are these ties do? What are they doing there? Why are they back together again? Why is he there? So now we're kind of pushing towards a story narrative kind of style.
Yeah.
So was 7 a soft reboot,
Yeah, because from that Village trailer, by the time you see Chris and he's like, sorry, Ethan.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, why are these two
here?
Yeah, why are these two here? How have they ended up here? What is the story now?
Yeah. So
invariably, there's going to be some kind of story there. So in that sense, we're going for, because if it was just any old, then I'd be like,
whatever.
Yeah,
if it just
whatever.
turned into whatever we've seen before, more of the same, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. But you will kind of want to know, why has this everyday dude, Ethan, or at least who you thought was an everyday dude, whatever, is running to Chris. So like, okay,
wherever this place is,
and Chris, obviously, we've known since friggin' the 90s or whatever. So how and why are these two together? Big questions.
Yeah. So you're gonna go into it with story.
Yeah.
You're gonna go into it with a story mind, as opposed to maybe not as much of a mechanical mind or a gameplay mind.
I'm wondering if that will affect the expectation of the story, because now we're kind of amped for it. I can sense that we're amped for it, and there's going to be other people that are amped for it as well, especially off the back of Resi 7, which was just it was just brilliant. And it does make me worry a tiny bit that I may be subconsciously expecting too much
from Resi.
From Village, yeah, from Resi Village.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I'm just looking for games I can play where I'm like, obviously we always want the whole package.
Yeah.
But I am really starting to get into much more small, intricate stories.
Yeah.
Like right now, I've started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey again.
Okay.
And
last time you played that was a while ago.
Why? Yeah. It was ages ago. And I'm starting, so I'm going to try and get through it. And Ghost of Tsushima until Ghost of Tsushima comes out.
Oh, mate.
And then what's interesting is I'm trying to keep up with the story. Well, not keep up. I'm paying attention to the story now based on because I knew I was going to ask you this question. And I'm like, am I playing this for the story, or am I playing this because it's set in Greece, in that kind of Odysseus kind of time? You know, because it's the same with did I play Black Flag because it was Caribbean and pirates? You know, am I playing Syndicate because it was set in London?
Yeah.
Or am I, am I like, I wonder where they're going to take these characters, and I wonder whether, am I going to do it because of the landscape? Why do we play? Why are we drawn to these? What draws us to games? And it's not always story.
No, I suppose it's not. I mean, because you can apply that to Ghosts as well, to Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, we don't know anything about that character. We don't know anything about that world, but we want to play it.
We want to play it. But
why do we want to play it?
Because then I think that is the aesthetic. It's the same with like From Software games. Dark Souls 1 through 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro.
Yeah.
They've got narrative, but I don't think that's what pulls people in. I think it's the this is a hard bastard game.
The toughness of the gameplay.
Yeah.
This separates the
gothic horror vibes, how tough it is. It's a very aesthetic thing, and it's it's really hard. I think that's what pulls people. I don't think people have gone, I really love to know what happens to this guy or that guy. I'm sure there are people that are, but I think majority wise I don't think that's the case.
No, you probably I can understand that.
So yeah,
but it's interesting because we talk about gameplay and story. And I can only think of 3 games probably recently that has given us the complete package. I've enjoyed going through the story, and I've enjoyed playing it.
I can think of. I know you're going to say one. I don't know what the other 2 are.
What's the one?
Final Fantasy 7.
Nah, that wasn't even in the 3.
Really? Shit.
That wasn't even in the 3, bro.
All right.
I mean, which is an obvious one, but it was going to be that Horizon.
Recent.
Well, when I say recent, I mean, recently that I've played anyway.
Within the last decade.
In the last decade. So yeah, The Witcher, Horizon, and God of War.
Oh, all great. All great
They're
stories.
All great stories. All great gameplay.
Yeah.
All
made by
gameplay.
fans for fans. That's what it felt like. Yeah.
I mean, and I do wonder if because you said something about a week ago about Ghost of Tsushima. You said it. What was it? It's like the Witcher of the East.
The Witcher of the East. It just felt like it felt like a heavily Eastern influenced.
Yeah.
Witcher.
Yeah.
Or heavily Witchered, but basically something like that.
So that makes me think, okay, am I gonna get good story and good gameplay? I've been reading a little bit about the gameplay of Ghosts, and
it looks great.
Yeah, it looks great, and it does seem, what they've tried to recreate, in terms of battle, and how you use your sword, fast strikes and stuff like that, and how they've AI'd the enemies. I mean, there was one particular line that I read in, I can't remember what mag it was, but the line basically read, "It's not about enemies just standing there waiting for their turn to have at you. You're going to have to calculate if you are skillful enough to go into what could blatantly turn into just an ambush. It could just turn into a ruck.
Yeah.
You might not be able to fight your way out of it because they're all going to be on you at once." And I read that and I thought, I mean, I've heavily paraphrased it, but I thought that's fascinating because that really, it obviously very, very much lends to the gameplay.
Yeah.
And kind of gives you, I suppose, a taste, an idea of what the environment is going to be like.
Yeah. I feel like they've put a lot of love into that.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be a big one.
Yeah. it does feel like a lot has gone in. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited by that. Don't know what the story is yet per se.
They've
I know
kind of alluded, but there's nothing.
they've alluded to it, but they've I feel like they've done it cleverly enough that they're saying to us, you want it.
Yeah, I do.
You're gonna
take my money.
this.
Take my money, innit? Take my money. It's the same with Cyberpunk. Take my money. I don't know what the story is. But take my money. It's but then from a CD Projekt Red vibe, it's like CD Projekt Red are making this game.
Yeah.
They kind of won me over with Witcher being one of the best games ever made. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm in. So that's why I'm in that game. Do you know what I mean? Like, what draws you to a game? That's probably a better question is, what specifically draws you to a game?
Do you know what's funny is that as much as I'm excited for Cyberpunk to come out,
yeah,
I'm very, very much excited about the story. I want to know where this story's going.
I think it'll be great. I think it's going to be great.
But I'm a little bit worried about the gameplay.
Really?
It's a weird one. It's kind of been niggling at me a little bit, but that's maybe because I don't have a lot of first-person experience with games. I don't really do that that much.
That makes sense.
So for me to go into a game like Cyberpunk, I mean, the last first-person shooter I played was probably Modern Warfare, maybe. And
yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, before that was probably Doom on my PC 486, showing my age. But other than that, I don't have many frame of references for first persons, so I'm a little bit scared about what the gameplay is going to be like. But I know the world looks absolutely 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
The characters that they've designed are going to be absolutely 10 out of 10. It's going to be a great environment.
Yeah, I agree.
I
think it's going to be great to look at.
I've got no doubt about that.
And I feel like CD Projekt Red know how to take their foot off the gas and let us have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a really important part, because if it's just constantly beating you over the head, I think it's going to fatigue.
Yeah. Apparently this game, sorry to cut you off, but this game's main story is apparently meant to be shorter than The Witcher by about 20 hours or something like that.
I'm okay with it.
But they've got side quests for days.
Yeah, I've heard about that. yeah.
You're just sitting there playing side quests.
It's a side quest to game the movie. No, I think it's so okay. To sum up,
yeah.
Have we established that different things bring us that draw us to different? To sum up, there are various reasons why we buy and why we purchase and play games.
Yes,
they can come from who made them.
Yeah,
they can come from I'm looking forward to the story.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the gameplay.
Yeah,
or I'm just looking forward to playing with friends. Or the aesthetic. Which one do you find applies to you the most? When you buy a game,
it's gonna be story. It's definitely story.
Okay,
definitely story. I can see. Here's the thing, and I said this to you a couple of days ago, but I was kind of hinting at what I felt about the gameplay of the Last of Us 2, because there's something about it. I don't know. There's something about it that feels a little bit slow responsive to me, but at the same time, it feels a little bit spongy.
Yeah,
okay. It feels a little bit spongy to me. I don't know why.
How I feel.
But at the same time, I'm like, but the story in the environment. So I can forgive that. The spongy
it's one of the
gameplay.
best looking games I've ever played.
Yeah. So, but to answer your question, it's definitely story first. I'm going in for story first.
Yeah.
Sell me a story.
I do enjoy, again, like I said, as someone that enjoys writing and creating.
How do you feel about Spider-Man?
What do you mean?
The game.
Miles Morales?
No, the one the previous one.
The PS4, the Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
In terms of gameplay and story.
Okay, so gameplay was amazing. All right, I loved.
Tell us how you really feel, man.
So this is the thing. So let's be honest. Gameplay, the swinging around the city.
Yeah.
And the aesthetic of that game was phenomenal. That was a great looking game.
Yeah.
The fight mechanics were really, really cool. The abilities were really cool. Totally a la
Batman
Arkham with the thingies.
Yeah.
Even though I know there's an old, I think it's PlayStation Spider-Man game where his spider sense will go off just before someone hits you. So technically it's Spider-Man then Arkham.
Yeah, okay.
But it was very more of Arkham, and I don't find that necessarily difficult, even though I was playing it on like a tough setting.
Yeah.
That was really good. And I wanted to do the collection stuff. I did find towards the end, I was fatiguing with clear out that place of those bad guys, clear out that place with those bad guys. Because it wasn't very original, and also stopping cars. I loved the car chase stuff. That was always really fun.
That was really, really cool.
But I just wish there was more than one animation.
Yeah.
For every time you stopped it, because it was always the same.
Yeah.
And I think that actually towards the end kind of took me out.
Mm.
Because it was just like it's exactly the same animation every time. Even if it was like a 3 to 5 animations. That would be cool. Or if you failed, different things.
Yeah.
That was the only thing where I got like, oh, okay, it's getting a little repetitive at the end. Story wise, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
But then I was going into that going, this is going to be a comic book story. This is going to be the story that we all know.
Yeah.
And it's definitely going to be something that's like you kind of expect it. It's lighthearted, and you go into it like that. You go into it with a lighthearted attitude. I'm actually really excited to see what they do with Miles Morales from a story perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm going into that to be like, I can't wait to play as Miles Morales. I can't wait to see more, to get back into that world. And I'm also really excited to see what they do with the story.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that kind of has it all for me. Like it's, but it's also very lighthearted. It's all. I'm looking forward to that. I play a lot of games that are quite hard and heavy. Like, Last of Us is a perfect example.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's nice to have these games that are just like, have a good time.
Yeah.
And, you don't always need to be kind of in the feels.
I would say that was another game for me anyway, that perfectly married up gameplay and story. Yeah. For me.
Yeah.
That definitely sits up there.
Oh, yeah. I
had a lot of fun learning about the characters inside. We know about the characters anyway, but learning about the characters inside of that game and, developing your gameplay as well. And, collecting abilities, collecting suits.
The suits was cool.
Yeah. And once you got your web slinging down, it was just...
Yeah, I had to get Spider UK.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah. But no, it was... I enjoyed that, and I think that was definitely a story-based... thing, but I feel like the gameplay had center stage on that one because everyone went mad for the swinging.
Yeah.
I can't think of a lot of games where, excuse me, where, I've gone like I thought of the same, like Spider-Man. Recently, and especially this year is the game. It's the year of the narrative stories with Final Fantasy 7.
Yep.
And then you've got Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and then Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
They're all pretty big story-based console.
Stories. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily console, but they're the big releases, right?
I think after this, I'm going to be a little bit burned out from stories.
Do you think so? Do you reckon you can be?
To go into a game for big meaty story that you are going to be playing for about
20 to 30 hours.
Yeah, circa 20, 30 hours minimum.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's just a lot of yourself that you're putting into it.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it is a commitment. You want to commit to it because you know that these are going to be really, really well crafted stories, they're going to have great conclusions by the time you get to the end, and you want to be a part of that. But there is a part of it, and I think Cyberpunk is going to do it as well. As much as I'm fucking excited to play that game, at the end of that game, I'm just gonna be like, I don't need any stories for a while.
Yeah, let me just play Street Fighter.
I might just go into Apex or just go into Street Fighter. Just go back into Mortal Kombat.
Well, by then, when that game comes out, we'll be in PS5, and hopefully there'll be big boy Guilty Gear Strive. Oh, I can't wait. That'd be great. It's funny actually. One more thing when you were talking about the Last of Us controls and we're talking about the mechanics of that, going from the Last of Us to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was like, okay, here we go. And I had the thing and I just ran her off a cliff because she moves so fast.
See, this is what I mean.
And she was gone. And I was like, oh my God.
This is what I mean. Like the Last of Us controls, they don't seem that fast. They're not that... I don't know what it is.
They fit the world, but
they do fit the world, yeah.
But I do feel, I know what you mean. But like I said, I feel like the mechanically it's not a very strong game.
I was going to ask you about this actually because I could feel that...
That's the conversation we can have.
That's a conversation for another time.
But yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. So we're just talking about the importance of story. Hopefully.
For me, it's story. I'm gathering for you.
Yeah, for me, it's story. A lot of the time I play Apex and I play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all those games. But I do play the arcade and the story modes.
Right.
Yeah, it's story.
It's got to be story.
Yeah.
It has to be story.
And we're in a place now where games don't look old anymore. Like classic looking games are an artistic choice.
Yeah.
Like to look, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
not that looks old or that looks like poor graphics. It's not 9 times out of 10 it's an artistic choice. So nowadays you can't even really kind of base a game on its aesthetic anymore because it's a choice.
Yeah.
And then you know it strips that away, and now all you're doing is looking at the meat of it, the story and the gameplay, which is what the hub of every game should be.
Yeah, it should.
So,
all right.
you know what that means. Actually, it's your turn.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Is it me now?
Because last week you were like, I'm going to get you.
Oh, man,
Talking up a big game.
Oh, I did. And, I had one in my back pocket. All right.
Yeah, come on in. Let's go. So the lights are going down.
The lights are going
We're
down.
back at Happy Hour in the Jazz Barcade.
Happy on the Jazz Barcade.
It's looking good, man.
Yeah.
It's looking cool, man.
It's looking slick.
So what are we going to do? Come on. Wow me.
I'm good.
You're saving you. Let's go.
You want me to wow you, yeah?
I've got something.
Oh,
Let's
man. Now I feel like I'm under pressure.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Nah, I'm just gonna have someone walk in.
I can't even look at you.
Why can't you look at me,
You're going
man?
to say something stupid.
I'm not gonna say anything stupid. Look, I'm just gonna have someone walk in. They're gonna sit down.
They look at you. It's
Okay,
unbelievable.
I'm sorry.
Compose yourself.
All right, I'm ready now. I'm here.
It's a place of business.
Place of business now. They're just gonna sit down. No games or anything like that. They're just gonna sit down by the bar.
Yeah.
Who's behind the bar?
Susan's today.
Susan. What are you saying, Susan?
Yeah, she alright.
Yeah.
Jack's down the end.
Jack's down the end.
Yeah.
Susan's like, oh, what are you saying, Kung Lao?
Oh,
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Kung Lao. Right, for those that don't know, Kung Lao is from what?
Kung Lao's from Mortal Kombat.
But he's quite a jokester.
He is. So he's kind of like he's a fun guy. He just likes to have a good time. He's a bit of a prankster.
Yeah, he's a dude. He's a dude.
What does that mean?
Well, like he's a bit of a lad.
Yeah.
Oh God, such a specific one.
You wanted me to wow you.
No,
man.
you did. Oh yeah, you did something.
Well, yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I am to please.
Okay. Because I think like he'd either go like super ridiculous cocktail, or I don't think.
Come on, he's
Kung Lao.
He's a lad.
Do you think it's not going to be beer or anything like that?
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
Nah, I think
He's not a wine guy.
He's not a wine guy. He's not a whiskey guy.
He's
just not. It's not that
a
serious.
whiskey guy.
He's
No,
just
it's
not that serious.
It's not serious. I reckon Long Island iced tea. You know.
Holy shit! Really?
I reckon Long Island. I think it's because it's just like it's got a kick to it.
Yeah.
You know.
But
it's also kind of like
it's kind of fun, kind of.
It's not too off the deep end.
Not off the deep end, but it's
that like Liu Kang would take the piss.
Yeah.
But it's not like. It's like grab a beer.
Yeah.
It's not a bud. It's like it's just nicely in the middle. Do you know? That's hard. But no, I'm sticking with that one.
No, that's
no
cool.
straw. No straw.
No, wow, no straw.
No straw.
Right, so he's just
Rago.
I think that's it. I think you've won that. That's great.
If anyone has any comments on that in terms of what you think you were drinking, let us know. Because
no straw, but raw.
Just raw, dirty glass. Long Island iced tea.
All right, Kung Lao for the Long Island.
So there you go, guys. As always, thank you so much for listening. We hope that you enjoyed our show today. We are on Twitter, Tones of the Biz. We are on Instagram, Tones of the Biz. YouTube, Tones of the Biz. We put our YouTube videos up on Wednesdays with fun little clips and videos that got us copyright claimed at one point.
Shh, don't talk about that.
Yeah, we're working out. But yeah, so head over to YouTube if you want to watch the videos, and we put the clips of the games that we talk about. And yeah, just get involved. As always, no douchebags.
We encourage you to talk up in the comments, but as I always say,
no douchebags allowed.
Keep it classy in the comments.
Keep it classy, people. Thank you so much, guys. We always appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yes, we do.
We hope you have a good week. See you later.
Take it easy.